Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show tonight. Tonight's guest, we have a father and a daughter. Father was gone for a long period of time, incarceration. He left his daughter when she was
Five.
5 years old. Came back when she's fully grown. So it's a gap there. We want to talk about incarceration. We want to talk about the during incarceration. We want to talk about the metamorphosis during incarceration. We want to talk about him being home, and we want to talk to the daughter. So we want to bring on Brother Sudra and his daughter, and allow them to come on and be part of the audience this evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you doing this
Glad
evening?
to have you guys here.
Man, glad to be here.
And for you, I want to say welcome home, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Glad to see
Thank
you on this side of the fence, this side of the wall.
It's a blessing.
Yes,
Something not new because I was over here before,
Yeah,
but it's brand new.
yeah.
And I'm thankful,
Yes.
truly for the blessings.
Okay, I want to ask you a few questions. And like I said, I'm not going to put you on the spot because I want to ask you some things that people need to know
Yes, sir.
and need to be told.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is a show for returned citizens.
Right on.
Okay? And people need to know that when we come from incarceration, we don't come home as monsters as we might have been going in.
True.
We come home with a complete different person. We left that other person inside.
Yes.
And the other person grew up and became a little older and wiser and wants to be part of this world again.
Yes.
So I want to ask you a question. You caught a case out of Oakland?
Yes, out of Alameda County in
Okay.
Oakland,
And what year was that?
1986,
1986.
February of
And
'86.
I can ask what kind of crime that was?
It was a robbery murder. I was the aider and abettor in a robbery murder.
Okay. And how much time were you sentenced to?
I was sentenced to 25 years to life, plus two,
Okay.
for the armor clause for me having a gun and for my co-defendant having a gun.
Okay. And how much time did you serve?
I served 34 years, 33, almost 34. I went to
34
prison in '89, but I was arrested February the 25th or 23rd.
Okay. And you went through the county jail system?
Yeah, I went through the county jail
Okay.
system from North County Jail to the old Santa Rita, back to North County Jail for 3 years fighting my case.
You fought your case for 3 years?
For 3 years. It was it started off as special circumstances, and after 3 years, on my third trial, I had two other trials, and on my third trial, they removed that from me and just charged me as a first-degree murderer.
Okay.
And I got convicted.
Okay. And you went to Vacaville at the reception center?
No, I went to San Quentin. It
San
was
Quentin.
just turning in '89. I went into the system.
Okay.
Yeah, so all that time I stayed in the county
Okay.
fighting this case.
Okay. How long did you stay in the reception center?
Probably about 4 months, 5 months.
Okay.
And then I went on to Old Folsom.
Old Folsom.
Yeah, I went to San Quentin, then Old Folsom, and that's where I started my time out.
They called it the end of the world.
End of the line.
Yeah. Cold thing when the bus go down to that.
Man, I got there in October when it was raining.
Yeah.
And it looked like a castle,
Yeah.
a haunted castle.
Yes.
And they say this the end of the line, and being fresh in with all the stereotypes
Yes.
and the horror stories you hear, don't drop the soap and
Right.
don't let nobody give you anything.
Right.
Didn't know I ever had a chance to get out of prison.
Right. Well, that's one of the things that they tell you going into Old Folsom. You look like you're going into Dracula's home.
That's what it looked like.
And when it was raining, it looks worse than that.
Oh, it was horrible.
It's a thing of fear going
Yes.
into something unknown that you've never been in before. So yeah. But you went into Old Folsom, and how long did you stay at Old Folsom?
I stayed there to 1992 till they changed it to a level 2. And once they changed it to a level 2, I was still a level 4, but I was on the cusp of becoming a level 3. So in 1992, I left and ended up in Solano.
Solano. Okay. And you stayed at Solano how long?
From 92 to 94, I didn't make it long because I had got that prison conditioning.
Right.
And I caught my first assault with a weapon
Right.
in Solano. So I made it there like 2 years.
Okay. And you went where?
Back to New Folsom. I went to New Folsom this
New
time.
Folsom.
Yeah.
Okay. You was when y'all was young.
I went to C.
C yard.
Yeah.
Okay. C facility.
The old man's yard.
Yeah. C facility.
Yeah.
Okay. How long you stay on C facility?
I stayed on New Folsom C facility to 1996.
Okay.
and was involved in the IAC and got involved in the work strike. So they rolled us all up, and I ended up going to Salinas Valley.
Salinas Valley.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Salinas Valley. You went down to the Sunshine where it's hot.
Yeah, in the valley.
Ooh. How long was you there?
I stayed there till '99, and I left Salinas Valley and ended up in Vacaville.
Okay. Okay. And you was on in Vacaville, and you stayed there how long?
To 2010.
Okay. Okay. Now all this time that you were going from prison to prison, because you frequented a few prisons by
Yeah,
that time.
and continued.
What at what time did you at any time figure out that you had to change the way that you was living?
I figured that out 90 days after being in jail.
Okay.
Coming from the family I come from, academia family, it's only 2 boys born. I'm the first grandchild of the Stillwell family and my cousin. So I come from a family of women, and I'm the first one in my family to ever get in trouble.
Okay.
I wasn't raised to be a criminal,
Right.
but I had a void, and that what was going on in Oakland in the 80s. They had a good advertisement department.
Sure,
Instead
sure.
of going to school,
Sure,
working
yeah.
the square stuff,
Right.
I chose to hang out in the streets and do
Right.
what my peers were doing.
Right.
But after 90 days of being in the county, that wasn't for me.
Right, right.
Hindsight ain't fair. If I know what I know now, I'd have got it over whole
Long
guilty
time
and
ago.
move on.
Yeah,
But
long
due to
time
the
ago.
legal system at the time, no, I fought it. But 90 days, I was through with it. But then getting thrown in the system and the political climate at the time, and I went when Duke Majan was the governor. Then next followed Pete Wilson, and we had a no parole policy. And over
Very
that
close.
period of time, comments made by the governor, and when I was in Solano, it was a guy named Chester Johnson who had been released on parole, and Pete Wilson had him rearrested twice and brought him back to prison. He was a friend of mine, and that had a great impact on me.
Sure.
That Pete Wilson said that he'll violate the right of a lifer before he let the public get violated. I agree somewhat with if a lifer is violating anybody's right, creating new
Sure.
victims, then he need to be
Sure.
in jail. But if he returns as a pro-citizen and law-abiding, then he should gain his liberties back.
Sure.
So when they brought Chester Johnson, had 2 jobs, married, a car, and a wife. And the first time they brought him back, he went to San Quentin. San Quentin wouldn't receive him because they didn't have any papers to process him. 2 weeks later, they came back and beat on Chester Johnson, arrested him, took him back to prison. And he was my friend, and that was a shock to me being a young man. And the other verbiage what Pete Wilson had to say, then I say, man, we don't have no rights, and I internalized other people's problems.
Right.
So
right.
I didn't lose faith, but I lost hope in the system.
Right.
And being young, didn't think things weren't going to change, but it took 34 years. And today things are still changing. I went as an aider and abetter. And at the beginning, I was released under the lifer's rule as a lifer, parolee. But as January the 1st, while I was in prison, I filed a petition under the 1437 as an aider and abetter. And today they couldn't even charge me with the crime they charged me with and send me to prison with a life sentence.
They couldn't. Yeah. Well, you during your incarceration, you frequent several prisons.
Yes.
Okay, and like I said, you saw a lot of people going home. You lost hope at one time. That maybe this might not work. You might not never get out of prison.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we didn't see lifers going
at
home.
all, at all because
No.
we had 2 governors
Yeah.
that had a blanket. Only way you're going to get out of
Pete
prison
Wilson,
is
Gray
to find
Davis.
box.
Gray Davis.
Right. Had 2 governors.
Yes, sir.
Right. Several of us didn't go to board for a long time.
Yes.
We refused to go to board.
Yes.
And they had to send in the mail.
Yes.
Your denial.
Yeah.
So a lot of brothers didn't go.
They didn't
Right.
go.
So-
I had friends
so-
I didn't understand it, but I studied law and had some and I learned it was called treating the record. And by you not going, you were treating the record to give you writ calls.
Right.
So, and I understood the mindset of I ain't going because these people not playing fair,
Right.
and the hell with it.
Right.
But the thing to put it on record, because I know some of the first guys who writ it out.
That's right.
But us
Of
who
course.
didn't participate in the lottery, they couldn't writ out because there was no record to challenge.
Exactly. Now I see you have a young lady next to you here.
Yes,
And
this is
it
my
looked
daughter.
like wait. Don't spoil the soup.
Yeah,
Don't spoil the soup. It looks like it's it's your twin.
yeah. That's what
I
they
mean, it
told
look
me.
like your twin. Is that any truth to that?
Yeah, it is my twin.
Okay.
My daughter.
The daughter twin.
My
right
firstborn,
Your
my only
firstborn.
born. You know, I left when she was 5 years old.
5 years old.
Today
Is that
she's
right?
38.
Is that
You
right?
know, and
What's your name, young lady?
Zakia,
Zakia.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
intelligent
Oh,
or smart one.
oh, who named you?
My dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, did you know what it meant?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wait,
Yes, sir.
and she's very intelligent,
Yes,
young lady.
been
Yes.
a guiding light for me. You know, as the prophet, I happen to be Muslim, and it says one party makes your whole life whole is marrying. The second part is raising girls and educating them. And I could say, being where I was, having a child compared to the guys I know in prison who didn't have no children, it was a burden. You know, going to prison at 23 years old and having the many peers who were at the same age with no children, and I could see the effect it had.
Sure.
You know, so having a child, it had a double-edged sword that it cut both ways. Not being there, I could watch the news and be worried to death.
Right,
You know, but having a child, it gave me reason to keep pushing forward and make the needed changes.
Well, we want to talk to the young lady, but we want to ask you a few questions. We want to get your story, because you have a story, or you have a story that your father was in prison practically all your life, besides 5 years of your life, and you have a story to tell, and people need to hear your story, because we got a lot of people watching this. We have people all over the world watching this station, and we want to be able to tell your story, because we want to tell you how you went through it, you know, the birthdays, whatever you missed, and then you're growing up and the lady you've become today. But we want to finish with you
Yes, sir.
first.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, going through the system. What's the last prison you were in?
I was in the last $1 billion baby in Stockton, which used to be the old YA, now called the California Health Facility.
Okay.
And that was the last prison I was in, but I had been in 2 others before that.
Okay.
I was on a tour of duty in a real way, you know. So, and it's the last prison, it's like a college. But I said to myself, if they had built more prisons like that, more people would have been coming home sooner.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
compared to...
Why do you say that?
Well, aesthetics, like we talked about old folks a minute earlier, that it was a doomsday castle. They still had a gallows there at old folks.
Yeah, sure did.
You know,
Fire building.
Yeah, fire building.
Sure did.
And we'd go in there and look for the young guys.
Yeah, sure
You
did.
know, you can still see the hanging posts.
Sure.
CHCF looks like a college. It doesn't have the stigma of the old colored painted cells, the bars. So it helps you change your mindset that you can feel hope again and positive. It had a great warden there, Martin Martell. Great warden. He did a number of events, and he came and interacted with the families and the prisoners. First time my daughter say she ever met a warden. And she's been visiting me all her life in prison.
Yeah.
And the warden came and spent an hour with us out there, 30 minutes, talking to us. And she had to tell him, this is the first time I ever met a warden. I called plenty of them,
Right.
but I never met
Filed
one to
plenty
talk
of
about.
complaints
Yes,
to
never-
speak to the warden,
never-
but never on a positive
Yeah.
human being conversation
Yeah. Is that right?
aspect.
So just that alone was profound, you know.
Yeah.
So the environment is conducive for self-improvement, self-rehabilitation. And they have the facility and the aides and the staff there who are willing to say, we green and you blue, to say, we see you as people and we're willing to work with you if you
Yeah,
want
that's
to make
right
the
on,
change.
that's right on, that's
So,
right
you know, I have to give credit where credit is due, you know, but the other part played on us and people fighting to make them bring that prison forward. Because the receivership really made them do it,
Sure.
you know. But now we can see the fruit of the labor
Right.
from the work put in by those who brought these complaints by to bring them in. Or Lieber don't change his spots,
Right,
Leopard
right.
don't change his stripes, you
Right,
know.
right.
That's what it would have been, you
Sure.
know, like we say. I went through Pete Wilson, Gray Davis, and then Arnold came in and cracked the door a little
Yeah,
bit.
sure did.
So
Sure
that
cracked
helped.
it.
But if it wasn't for the pressure of public and family said, wait a minute, our children are dying in prison every day who shouldn't have to die, never coming home. Something's wrong with this. And it got too expensive. So by having that pressure there, it created an opportunity.
Yeah. Well, you served your time. You served your
Yes.
time. You did what you was obligated to do.
Yes, sir.
You know, for the crime that you went to prison for. Not that you didn't have to serve as much time. You know, I ain't with that one.
Yeah.
But you did the time.
I did that and
You
some
know,
more.
yes, and you home, and while you was in prison, what did you do with your time?
Well, when I first got to prison, I wanted to, going into 23, the Hitman Eagle, the young Eagle, I wanted to lift weights and run with the young crew who I was there. But it was some older brothers there in prison, and Kevin Green, Jimmy Reese, and I was the baby boy of the group. And they said I was the smartest out the group who came with my class. They put me in college. I had went to college on the streets, but I didn't even know they had a college in prison. When I first got to Old Folsom, they were going on strike. And I was with Brother Jimmy Reese. And I was picking up a package. And he said, Young Blood, we going on strike. And I didn't know a strike. I worked in the shipyards before I went to prison. I know what a strike was. We gonna slow the work down and we gonna pick at the job site. But I had never been in a prison strike. Well, that meant we weren't going to eat. We were on lock the prison down. So I say, what are we locking the prison down for? He say, man, you see that hair you got on your head? You see them tennis shoes you got in that package you just picked up? People died and fought for that.
Sure did.
And that was when the Sharon Tate Foundation was getting strong. And they wanted to remove family visits, packaging, education, this whole slew of things that they came with. And it was still new to me, but these were older men, some of them Vietnam veterans. So they had been in the system since 1970. I have Hillary Booker, he'd been down since 57.
Right.
You know, so I'm the baby. So I know to shut up, be quiet, pay attention, listen, and go on and do what I'm told to do. Because these were serious men, but they were loving men.
Yeah.
And they were my uncles, my grandfathers, because what I didn't have, I had there.
Right.
You know, so when they told me what was going on and why they were doing it, I didn't have a problem with it. So you'll see guys going to buy 10, 20 cases of soups, getting ready for this, you know, battle was supposed to go down. So that was one of my first things. So from there, I got a job in the hobby shop, you know. So that was one of my first jobs in prison, was working in the hobby shop. And I was with a brother named Lumumba and Marion Carr. And they were leather men, and Lumumba was an artist. So before I came to prison, I owned a body and fendering shop. So I knew how to paint, but I always had a desire to draw. So I bought me some sheets of paper, you know, and I kind of lied my way into that because I was married at the time when I came to prison, and I couldn't draw. So I had a guy drawing cards for me, sending them to my wife, talking about, baby, I drew that. And then finally, the guy got out of prison. And she asked me, where's my card at? I said, baby, I've been fighting my case.
You had to shift it up.
Yeah, so I went to the canteen, bought me a drawing tablet and some pencils, and drew a stick man with a circle behind it like the sun in color, and wrote on there, I love you. And that's how I started drawing.
That's right.
Yeah. So that was my first introduction because you could draw a portrait and make $50.
Sure good.
You know, so I continued to draw, till I became a well-known artist.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
so
right.
that was part of my escapism, and I love playing chess.
Yeah.
You know, because it was outbesting the next mind. You couldn't cheat like
Right.
what was on the
Cards.
card or a domino.
Right.
And I didn't like that noise. I was always leery of that noise, but I would play chess. So that created me to thinking and being placed in school. So by doing those things, that started my transformation.
Right.
You know, early part, it was a change at first because I could change and I would go back. But then when I started transforming, it wasn't no going back. So I started following that course forward.
Yes. So you paroled from Stockton,
Yes.
okay, and you paroled recently.
Yes. As my door, I paroled February the 14th.
February the 14th.
February the
You
14th
fresh.
this year.
You're fresh. You've been on what, 2 months, huh? Couple
No,
months?
Not even 2
not
months.
even 2 months.
what is
Valentine's Day. I got out Valentine's Day.
Not even 2 months. Yeah,
No,
you're fresh, huh?
I'm
Yeah,
fresh
you're
out.
fresh. Okay.
No over 30 days.
Welcome home.
Thank you. Thank
Welcome
you.
home, my
True.
brother. Yeah. Okay.
True.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Coming home after all the time that you incarcerated, what was one of the first things you did coming home?
Well, my daughter came and picked me up. She wouldn't let nobody come and pick me up, but
Is that right? Wow.
so happened I had a cousin fighting cancer, and he stayed in Stockton, so he got to come and get me. And the first thing they did, picked up, got some. I ate some free food, but it gave me heartburn. I've always been sitting in prison watching Poco Loco chicken, but I just wanted something to eat.
Right. Right.
So I ate some, and it was the worstest chicken I could ever eat.
Poker Loco.
Yeah, I didn't like it. But I guess I've been eating prison food so long that prison food was good, and I still haven't adjusted to the free
No,
world.
it takes a while.
You know, the taste buds. You know, I remember it used to taste great before I left, and then
It's completely different.
So yeah, so that was one thing. But I went home to my mother's house, and she had cooked for me, and hugged my mother, man. You know, after I hugged my daughter, and she told me it was one of the best days in her life,
Yes,
and the
yes,
only thing
yes,
could
yeah.
outdo that day was her getting married.
Yes.
You know, so she needs a husband.
And you will soon.
Yeah, she will.
You
You
will soon
know,
get one,
and
yes. Yes, that's right on. That's
every
right
day
on.
I've been doing something positive, great. From taking her to her first Juma.
Is that right?
Yes,
Alhamdulillah,
yes.
alhamdulillah. Yes,
She
yes.
attended her first, but I got it released on February the 14th.
That right? Wow. My
Yeah, but
goodness.
February, it was a sweet and bitter thing because we had a family. But February the 15th, I had a young cousin killed, a great cousin. I had never seen him before in my life. I talked to him when he was 7 years old.
7 years old.
Yeah, but he was 18 when he got killed. And my first time ever looking upon him, he was in a coffin. You know, and it was young people at his funeral and stuff. So that was a shocker. But it gave me an opportunity to see how the young people function today and also speak to the young people about their decision making and explain what happened to me. Because I left at a young age, and there's a lot of the Gulam stage, the immaturity.
Right,
You know, and that's when I was grabbed up. And so it gave me opportunities for they could see somebody who had been gone 34, because like they were still 18. And I always quote a quote of a great neurologist and surgeon. What you do with the first 25 years of your life will affect the next 50. You know, so that was the blessing. Then after that, I went to a birthday party. Then after that, we've been family and friends of Oscar Grant Sr. We came to prison together, and our daughters went to school together. So they were about 8 or 7, and Oscar hadn't seen his daughter, and I saw my daughter. But me and Oscar started off in Old Folsom together, made it down to Solano. So I told my daughter, and she said, "That's my friend." So from then on, they had been best friends, and Oscar's mother accepted my daughter as a goddaughter.
Right on.
You know, so we've been with that family all the time. You know, so when I got out, they had a birthday party for their aunt Cookie. So I got to attend that, you know. So it's been one fair and attending the different community meetings and visiting this organization and that order. So I hit the ground running, man.
That's right on. That's right on. Well, I'm gonna tell you, being here out in this in the free society on this side of the fence, this side of the wall.
Yes.
You got a lot of opportunities.
Yes.
A lot of opportunities. Starting off, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be like hard sandpaper.
Oh man,
You know,
I
really,
ran into
you know,
them. I
it's
didn't
gonna be
have.
like
I
hard
came out.
sandpaper, but then on the end of it, you got that soft sandpaper.
Yeah,
You'll be able
smooth
to
it
walk
out.
like you're walking on sand.
Yeah.
You know, but everything is everything's brand new.
It's brand new.
Everything's brand new. You go downtown, you go to the stores. Some people go in stores, they got to leave out because they can't be around a lot of people.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you're just like a brand new baby.
Yeah.
You know, getting up trying to walk.
Culture shock.
And you're falling down, and you're getting up, and falling down,
Yeah.
and you're getting up playing with the table, what's on the table, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. Knock stuff off the table, and pretty soon you're gonna start jogging, then you're gonna start running.
Yes,
right?
yes,
But it's
yes,
gonna be all right. It's gonna
Yes,
be all
yes.
right.
One of the things coming out, being a former lifer, that and not knowing the exact date. Like I said, I came home February the 14th. Well, I didn't know my release date till February the 10th. And on the 10th, they told me I would be leaving on the 14th. And but prior to that, much prior to
didn't
that,
even
I
know.
filled out Social Security, General Assistance, Medi-Cal. But due to a lifer doesn't have a hard date,
Right. You don't
when
know.
they review it, they take all those benefits from you. So I walked out of prison without any benefits, no medical. I came out with a 30-day supply of meds, which ran out. I haven't saw a doctor yet. I didn't have no ID. I came out with my prison ID till I got to parole, and they gave me another little paper ID. I didn't have a birth certificate. I didn't have a social security card, and having to go through that process of lining those things back up with only $200 in my pocket. And if I didn't have family and friends to step in and fill in where I don't have a driver's license, don't have a car to drive. You know, my daughter had to pick me up, my mother had to pick me up, friends had to pick me up, members of the Muslim community has picking me up, and I just say I feel saddened by the brothers who don't have the support I have.
Yeah. Well, this is why we're trying to put in place. Let me rephrase that. Let me take trying out of that. We're putting in place a transitional housing for long-time offenders.
Yes,
coming
it's
from
needed.
incarceration. I'm working myself diligently. You know, I work at 2 different organizations, and I got my 501c that I got shortly after I come home. I got my own 501c
Right.
that I'm going to put in place transitional housing for long-time offenders come home, so we can go into these houses instead of going to these drug programs. We don't need
Yeah,
to go. To
I was placed in one of those
exactly.
also,
You didn't need to go there. Period.
but I was put out.
Exactly. But see, we know what you need.
Right.
We've been there.
We do.
So we need us, lifers that's been in the system, that's come home, that's doing pretty good to work for the brothers and sisters coming home. I'm talking about sisters too.
Yes, sir.
Coming home from incarceration, because we got sisters coming home too, and they need help just as well as we do.
They do.
So we working, and God willing, it's going to be a short time before I'm up and running with these houses. I'm working diligently.
Yeah.
I'm working with the mayor of San Francisco, Under the Breeze. I'm trying to put something in her ear so she can, and I'm trying to work with Oakland. We're trying to make sure that we have something smooth to come on to so we can be relaxed. And
We need
move
that.
back in our community.
But we
God
also
willing,
need
it's
some
gonna work.
politics behind it, and we need an
we-
initiative built
Exactly.
that a lifer needs guaranteed housing or be put on the list for guaranteed housing.
But see, life is coming home from prison. They're considered homeless.
I'm homeless.
So they fall right up under that act where they have to take care of you coming home from prison.
True.
Homeless.
Well, no,
they got people coming from other states to California, and they taking
get
care of
homeless.
you. Coming from state in your own state where you were born and raised, you coming home from incarceration. They have to take care of you, and we're gonna make sure that they do.
At
So-
what a,
so-
I
so-
asked this
so-
question. At what account? I was one of those lifers.
Okay, but it's not. We working.
Right.
Okay, it's work in progress. It ain't happening.
It ain't
It
happening.
ain't
yet.
happening.
That's what we
But
talking about.
believe me, I got my 8-ounce gloves on and I ain't taking them off. You
Come
understand
on,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I know how that's to come on and not have support. I know how it is to come on and to have support.
Yes,
You see what I'm saying?
yes.
If you don't have support, you're gonna fall below the
Man, you-
wayside and you're going back.
You don't do like the
You see what I'm saying? You're
short
going
times.
back, and we don't want you to fall in the revolving
Correct,
door.
correct.
You see, you did your time. You did over your time.
Yes.
Anybody that did 10, 20, and 30 years and 40 years in prison, they did over their time. They're supposed to be part of the society.
Yes.
We working to make it happen.
Right.
The transition housing that we trying to put in place, it's gonna happen.
Yes.
It's gonna happen. It just
I'll
ain't in
support
stone
you.
yet. It just ain't in stone yet. I'm
I'll
working.
support you.
I work 2 jobs diligently.
Yes.
Getting all the information I can get.
Yes.
But anyway, we glad to have you on the show, my brother.
Thank you, brother.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna have you back on the show in a few months.
Okay.
We want to bring your
daughter.
your daughter on the show.
She needs a husband.
Yeah, yes, good husband. We're gonna bring
good
your
husband,
daughter
not
on
just a
the show.
man.
Yeah, right, good
Yeah.
husband on the show, and we want you to tell your story about the gap between you and your dad in the years of not being there. Now the years that you got him back, and you ain't gonna let him go. So we're gonna bring that on the other show, and I apologize for not allowing you to be able to speak today, but we're gonna bring you back tomorrow, God willing. Okay. So thank you for coming on the show, both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Welcome home, my brother.
Thank you again.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the show this evening. We glad to have you in our studio today. I ask that you call in and give me some feedback on our show. Give me some constructive criticism on how we can enhance our show, make it better than what it is today. If you'd like to see this show again, you can look at it on YouTube anytime you wish to, many times you want to. And just call in and let me know how you feel about the show, how I can enhance the show, what we can do to whatever to do the show. So thank you for watching the show, and tune in next Saturday at 7 o'clock on Channel 7. On Channel 29, excuse me, Channel 7. Channel 29 at 7 o'clock. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you.